Good morning, everybody. Can people hear me? And you'd have to go on chat. I muted everybody so that to eliminate background noise and to eliminate the interference. Can people hear me? I guess it didn't work. Great, people can hear me. Thank you. Thank you for taking time out of your busy schedules to participate in today's webinar. And today we're going to review or preview the application for the 21-23 biennium. For the 19-21 biennium, our current 38 LTCT sites, the contracts are being reviewed by DOJ and so forth. So your funding is there, but this is for 21-23. I just want to get that out. And with me today at ODE, I thought others are going to be here in person, but we have Candace from Town Center. She's here, and so she's going to assist me in reviewing the chats to see if there's any questions. And I know there's quite a bit of people on participating via phone or web, but it'll just take too long. So without further ado, oh, and by the way, this is being recorded and it will be posted on YouTube. Can people hear me now? I unmuted everybody just in case if I accidentally muted myself.
Yes.
Okay, good. I think that was Susan Peck that said yes. Okay, people can hear me now. So I guess I have to unmute everybody. So if on your side you can use your phone to eliminate the feedback and the background noise. Okay, thank you. So basically, for our current LTCT people, this is our statute for long-term care treatment, and I'd like to highlight B and C, eligible day treatment program. It's defined in statute, and eligible residential treatment. So if your residential program has a contract with OHA, DHS, or Oregon Youth Authority, then you could be considered. Just like for eligible day treatment, if you have a contract with OHA, then you're eligible. And both B and C state not in detention facilities, and I'm pretty sure that is for BRS to qualify for BRS funding. So, but if you have a program that is run by juvenile department, and the kids are not residing in the detention facility, I believe that's fine. And here ORS 343961 talks about FAPE. It says eligible day treatment or eligible residential program. The school district where the facility program is responsible for FAPE, or including, providing the education and so forth. And I get these questions a lot. And this is our OER regarding the application process or the definition. And this 2571 is the application OER. And I sent out the PowerPoint. So for 21-23, there's a paradigm shift from just paying the sites because they were on the curriculum list or they were historically. There's a paradigm shift for 21-23 because of limited resources, and we're going to fund and we're going to prioritize sites that are meeting outcomes of providing quality educational services. So right now we're funding 38. It might be 35. It might be 28. It might be 44. It might be 54. We don't know, because I don't know how many programs will apply and how many programs will decide not to apply. So this past spring, had various webinars, met with different groups. We talked about the curriculum list and asked for soliciting input and to talk about how to best prioritize taxpayer funds. So the process is in 2019-20, interested school districts with eligible day residential programs will submit an application for ODE funding for 21-23. All Oregon school districts and eligible day and eligible residential treatment programs may apply. The 2021 school year will be a planning year for its sites that will and will not receive funding for the 21-23 biennium. A committee will review the applications utilizing a rubric, and applications with the high scores will be funded in 21-23 biennium. So these are the outreach efforts that I did this past spring. And the last was, I think last week, Thursday, June 20, I had a webinar, in person, drove all the way down to Douglas County, which is always a pleasure. Met with Douglas County Juvenile Department, Roseburg School District, Phoenix Charter School, ADAPT, and Douglas ESD, and so forth. So these are some of the outreach efforts that I did to get the word out. And for the fall, I plan on posting the final application in the Oregon Education Update newsletter that goes to everybody, and the ODE SPED newsletter, and also to have a short webinar to go over the final application. So there's no misunderstandings or questions, because I really want to get this right the first time. Okay, so during this process, we received questions and feedback on academic achievement, ADM level versus slot utilization. That is where, like, for instance, a program has 12 slots, but they average about 3 kids. Should we prioritize that site versus a site that has 12 slots and averages 10 kids, and so forth? Attendance rate, number of contracts with state agencies, geographic isolation, least restrictive environment. And the thing about geographic isolation, and I've said this in the past, and I'm going to repeat this: for some sites, you're the only program in a specific county. I would not hang your hat on the geographic isolation part, because there are a lot of other programs where they're the only program within their county. So I'd just like to caution for people that are thinking, oh, we're the only program in our county, so ODE has to fund us. A lot of other programs can say that. Least restrictive environment, determination for each individual student, that is part of the OER. Length of stay, letters of support, these are something new, like part of the application process for coordinated care office, county DHS, juvenile departments, etc. Testimonial success. And this is something that was added, and that was one of the reasons why I went to Douglas County. A new site is contemplating whether they will apply or not, and then I feel very uneasy of approving a site without visiting. So hopefully, if you will apply, you'll be open to a site visit. Concerns that are brought up because of the switch: financial burden on school districts for residential and day treatment sites, application versus 2-year versus 4-year, consideration for a tiered system for large facilities, educational providers don't want to be held for mental health outcomes, and the state responsibility and reimbursement for educational expenses. Okay, so the application, this is new. This slide application is based on ORS 343961 and OER 01525. So basically 0152571 says these are things that need to be there. Every child, regardless of whether they have a disability or not, has an education plan that includes assessment, goals, services, timelines. That we're going to ask for evidence of that. B, you're going to submit your reports, in an accurate, timely manner. C, as I said earlier, have children educated in a least restrictive environment. For instance, if you have a residential program, and if 100% of those kids are in at the LTCT site, that might be questionable, because there might be 1 or 2 that may be able to be educated at the neighborhood elementary, middle, or high school. So if you can prove that your program does educate kids in a less restrictive environment, not all kids in your LTCT program, that is great evidence. And E, other requirements as identified by the department. Now the draft, so the application that I emailed out is a draft. If you have comments or feedback or suggestions, please email them to me by 8 a.m. Monday, August 12, 2019. Here's the application, and then here are specific OERs. This is the funding formula for those of you that are interested. And then here talks about the letters showing to prove licensing requirements. This is our funding. This is our statute with the definition of eligible day treatment, eligible residential. So according to statute, if you have a contract with OHA for day treatment, and residential, if you have a contract with DHS, OHA, or OIA, and if you're placed by public or private entity. And then I look at public as also not just up here, but also county. And without further ado, here is the draft application. So here is asking for your comments and feedback, talking about the purpose, the statute of eligible day residential treatment, the criteria, again, the criteria. So here, this is what is due with your application. Evidence of state agency contracts, because Up here it says you have to have a contract with OHA, or if you're eligible, residential, OHA, DHS, or OIA. Copy of or approval from OHA or licensure. You have to be a nonprofit or political subdivision of the state. This is the non-discrimination statute that's part of our OER. Described to the curriculum content with no religious entanglements are met. As this is talked about in the OER. Least restrictive environment. So number 9, that's part of the OER, provide evidence that the education program is developed and implemented in conjunction with the treatment program. May include following meeting notes, correspondence with the district treatment, and so forth. Because that's part of the OER too, where the treatment and education are intertwined during the school day. It's not like where the mental health provider will drop off the kids at 8 a.m. and then pick up the kids at 3 p.m. It should be where it's not a handoff. So here's a description of your program, clientele of students served, geographic locality, history of treatment, educational success, levels of support, number of students served with the available slot capacity, average length of stay, a description of the educational program, the curriculum, enrollment procedure, diversity and inclusion, and section 5, description of the transition or reentry program activities to help the student acclimate to the new setting. And we're talking about when the kids leave the day or eligible residential, reconnecting to the next setting, not the transition to post-secondary as generally stated for the for IEPs. And here's our signature page, LEA signature and signature of the day treatment. And submissions, hard copy, electronic, or email. And electronic, I'm trying to think of I'm going to try to develop an electronic submission where your attachments or PDFs could be submitted instead of having to mail everything in, or if you want, you could email them to me. Oh yeah, that's right. Sorry. And then I'm going to check the chats now for any questions. Someone asked, if a district turns in an application and is selected for funding. Okay, so someone asked, what is the time frame for the contract? The time frame for the contract is for the 21-23 biennium, and then hopefully the final application will go out in September of 2019, with the due date probably early November or late October. Any questions? And everybody is unmuted so people can ask questions verbally, or if you feel more comfortable, you could ask via chat. No questions, no comments. And this one happens all the time. After I end the webinar, I disconnect. I walk from the basement to my cubicle, and I have like 4 or 5 emails with questions, which is fine. So if you have any questions or comments afterwards, okay. So the question is the max frame 2 years? Do we have to reply? The max is for 2 years because we have biennial agreements, but it could be where, and it hasn't been decided yet, where sites that are funded could renew for another 2 years. And it could be where the process is open again for 2 years for sites that did not have a chance to apply now that may be able to apply in 23-25, because there are new sites that open up and pop up or reopen. So that's a good question.
Sam?
Yes?
This is Susan Peck at Southern Oregon ESD. So if the district in which the day treatment or residential site is located is responsible for the application, then maybe this is a silly question. So we'll do some hand-holding with the resident district to provide them the information they need to complete the application, and then we have some sort of understanding with that resident district to continue to serve if we're an ESD that provides those services. That's my question.
Yes. And for people that are unaware, like here, where it says FAPE is with the school district, but the statute also allows the school district to have the education services provided either directly or through another district or an ESD. And here it talks about here, where if in those cases, number 7, we may enter into agreements directly with the school district or ESD to make, instead of having to flow through. So yeah, so in programs where ESDs are providing the service, most definitely I would suggest the ESD working closely with the school district.
But the district will have to file the application, correct?
Correct, yes. The school district where the facility resides will have to submit the application.
Okay, so that's
a question from, I'm sorry, Susan?
That's okay, I'll follow up.
Okay, a question that came in via chat. Will district sites receive feedback on their application if they are not selected as an LTCT? I'm gonna say this. Hopefully in January, the selected sites will be notified, but then we'll start the contracting probably in March. And the reason why is because in anything that we do here, I have to build in a window for appeals or reopening. So yes. Once you submit an application, whether you're selected or not, you'll be notified, and then I have to put in something, an avenue for appeal. That's just the way, we have to operate. So that could be it. And then when you submit your application in October or November, if you're missing something, most definitely I might say, hey, so when you submitted your application, you missed your the section of providing the licensure, please provide, and so forth. So yeah, for certain things, yes. Okay, if a district decides that they do not want to apply but site wants to apply, how will that site proceed? Then for 21, I'm thinking for 21-23, they will not receive ODE funding. So, so the site and the school district will have to determine how educational services will be provided. Other questions?
Sam, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
This is Lynn Schroeder. I'm wondering, I don't think I got the PowerPoint from you. Wondering if you can send that to me?
Most definitely, Lynn. I'll send it to you. Yes. I think
Okay.
you're not on my juvenile justice email because you don't have a detention facility. If
Right.
you want, I can add you onto that JDEP email list. Do you want me to?
Sure, that would be great. And then
Okay.
I just have a question, since our Harkins House, our Hillsborough School District hasn't gotten these funds before for Harkins House. If there's gaps in needs, are these potential funds that, you know, if they received approval, could meet some of those gaps?
Then yes and no, and then it's hard for me to say whether our LTCT funding can meet the needs of those gaps. It's hard for me to say yes or no because I don't know what the gaps are at Harkin House. But what I can say is our funding, this is our funding formula. If you can see on the screen, we provide funding at 1 teacher and 2 EAs for a classroom up to 15, and 1 teacher and 3 EAs up to 15 to 20 kids, plus 15% to cover overhead expenses and other service-related costs. So right now, on average for 1920, we're picking up funding. We're looking at $207,000 per classroom.
Okay. Well, we will chat with the Hillsborough School District to see if they're interested in this, but that helps.
And Lynn, if you want me to meet, you know, if you want me to meet with you and Hillsborough, I'll be more than happy to drive up.
Okay, that would be awesome.
Yeah, because I live in Bethany, so it's not that far of a drive.
No, it's not. Excellent. Thanks, Sam.
Okay, so a question came via chat. Okay, so could you repeat, once we submit September application, when will we know if we're approved? Was that November 19? No, I'm thinking the application hopefully will go out in September with the due date either late October or early November, and then notifications will go out probably after you know, the winter break, early January, and then final notification probably February or March because of the appeals process. That's just the nature of the beast. We have to have, and then remember now, this is for 21-23. This is not for the 2021 school year. We're doing it 1 year early so that the 2021 school year will be like a planning year or a year of adjustment. I don't want to say transition year because transition's been used around so many times. Any other questions or comments? I'm going to count to 5, and if not, then I'm going to end the meeting. Oh, I got a question in chat. This sounds like a complex application process since we have to gather letters of support from third parties. Can we have 60 to 90 days for the applications? You could, but yes, but the 90 days will push it out. But by me previewing the application for everybody, you kind of know what we're kind of, I don't expect too much of a drastic change because most of the components of the application is built from the OER and the ORS. Like these are requirements that, these are the requirements that's in administrative rules. So, and if I don't follow administrative rules, then, and here's the thing that needs to be met, like, you know, documentation, child care, you know, state, you know, operated by nonprofit. It's in administrative rule. So I have to adhere to the administrative rule. So it is what it is. Any other questions? And it says here in administrative rule, 45 days. So, any other questions or comments via chat? Okay, I guess there's none. Oh wait, hold on. Here's another question that just popped up. Question, one application for each program? Yes. One application per institution number. One application per institution number. That's a very good question. Any other questions?
Hey, Sam, it's Mark from Portland. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, Mark.
Yeah, so for the academic achievement part, how is that going to be defined?
That's open-ended. And then that, I struggled with that too. And we discussed it. So if you want to submit, let's go learn data. If you have other data, like from maps or from others, or if you have anecdotal data, that's also fine. And if you're like a high school program, if you have graduation rate, or elementary and middle, if you have SBAC scores, that's fine.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
Yeah. And I intentionally left it open-ended because I didn't want to pigeonhole people. Yep. A comment was, I read 45 days for your response. We'll work with whatever you send us. Yep. The OER says 45 days, so. And if you can imagine, for 45 days for myself and the group, if there's like 60 applications, that's a lot, yeah. Or maybe, I don't know, or maybe 90, I don't know.
Hey, Sam, it's Mark again.
Go for it, Mark.
Yeah, and again, who's going to be reviewing them? I know I asked about this last time. Is it going to be only people working at ODE, or is there going to be a committee of
I asked
treatment and school providers?
I asked volunteers from OHA, DHS, and OIA, and I will also ask for volunteers from ODE. It's most likely going to be just state agency people, if I can get people to participate. And the reason why is I want it to be, the process to be as impartial as possible. Any other questions? And the reason why those agencies, because our statute specifically states for eligible day treatment, calls out OHA, and eligible residential treatment are 3 partners here because it's contracts. So if they have contracts with them, so that's why. And I'm just following exactly what's written in the law and OER. Any other questions or comments? If not, thank you everybody for taking time out of your busy schedule. And feel free to give me a call or send me an email, and if you want, invite me to your area, and then I'll meet with your with people in your area. I'll be more than happy to. All right, thank you, everybody, and I'm ending the recording now.